There we go. Today's date is March 7th, 2022. In Gray County, Texas, I call cause number 40383 in the interest of Peyton May Holland. What says the state?
Your Honor, Teresa DePoyster, Assistant Attorney General for the Office of the Attorney General. Your Honor, the state would like to proceed today to a default hearing. We do show that Mr. Holland was served on or about September 7th of 2021.
Well, I show service January 12th of 2022. I take judicial notice of the contents of the court's file in either case. It appears that Mr. Holland has been served. He has not made any answer, nor has he made an appearance today. Today's hearing was set for 10:30 and it's now approximately 11:30 a.m. So we're proceeding to default. You may call your first witness, Ms. DePoyster.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Madison Bell Tuttle.
Ms. Tuttle, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, Ms. DePoyster.
Thank you, Ms. Tuttle. We're here today before the court on a pleading that the Office of the Attorney General has filed regarding Peyton May Holland. Is that your child?
Yes, ma'am.
How old is Peyton?
About 13, 14 months old.
Okay. Was she was born January 8th of 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
And who is her father?
Cody Holland.
And we've pled Cody Allen Holland. Do you believe that's his name?
Yes, ma'am.
And at or near the time that Peyton was born, did both you and Mr. Holland sign a document that acknowledged that you are the parents of Peyton?
Yes.
And has he ever denied that he is Peyton's father?
No.
And did you guys reside together after she was born as a couple?
No, ma'am.
When did y'all split up?
Approximately a week before she was born.
Oh, goodness. Okay. But you do want her to have a relationship with her father?
Yes.
And are you asking that the court appoint you as the managing conservator and Mr. Holland as the possessory conservator?
Yes.
Are you asking that you be the person who determines Peyton's primary residence?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have some concerns regarding visitation as well as disclosure of your contact information, including your home address?
Yes, I do.
And so, and that's just as to Mr. Holland, or are there other parties that you have concerns about on that as well?
Ms. Tuttle?
Yep. I'm sorry, do what?
Are you asking that we not disclose your contact information because of Mr. Holland, or is there somebody else?
Oh, because of him.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. DePoyster.
Thank you, Honor. And can you tell the judge why it is that you believe that you might be subjected to harm or harassment by Mr. Holland, if your information is?
I apologize for interrupting. Sorry.
No.
He has a history of just of threatening and then just of drug abuse, and it worries me for mine and my child.
What kind of threats has he made?
That he was previously he made threats about knocking down my door to get to my child, and then threatening that whenever he gets possession of her, that he's going to kidnap her.
Has there ever been any physical violence between the two of you?
No, he's never been physically violent towards me.
Has he threatened personal violence to you?
I'm sorry, do what?
Has he ever threatened to harm you physically?
No.
Right. And does he have a problem with drugs or alcohol?
Yes.
Can you tell the judge a little bit about that?
He has a history of drug abuse pretty badly. Even when we were together, I had found out that he was using drugs, and he became pretty, not like violently towards me and like physically or anything, but just a very violent person. And then recently, one of his girlfriend had reached out to me, informing me that he had showed up one night very under the influence. She had mentioned that he was doing drugs and things, and that she was concerned.
Okay. And is he a registered sex offender?
Yes.
In that, do you know, did that offense involve small children?
No, just a 15-year-old girl, to my knowledge.
Okay. And even knowing that, you do want to ultimately have Peyton have a relationship with him.
Yes.
Okay. Are you asking then that any visitation have some limitations that include no use of drugs or alcohol for 12 hours prior to visitation and definitely during visitation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you in fact then asking the judge too that Mr. Holland be required to present you a clean hair follicle test before any visitation begins?
Yes,
And do you think that's in Peyton's best interest?
I do.
Are you asking for a phased-in visitation that includes a first step that is supervised visitation?
Yes.
And are you also asking that the exchanges of Peyton for visitation take place in the lobby of the Gray County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
And are you asking that all communications between the two of you regarding visitation for Peyton and Mr. Holland be arranged through the App Close app?
Through what?
Yes.
App Close app, parenting app, APPCLOSE. And that is a free app that we use quite often. I believe the court's familiar with that. And then are you asking that in the phased-in visitation, that first step of supervised visitation, that you be allowed to either supervise yourself or designate a competent adult to supervise?
Yeah.
And we typically do those on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th, if there is a 5th, Saturdays of each month from 1 to 5 p.m. How many of those do you think would be best in order to foster that relationship, yet do what's in the best interest of Peyton?
About 30.
And then you understand that second step, and he has to complete each step before he moves to the next. And will you keep records of that on the app Close?
Yes.
And then the second step is 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturdays of every month. And that's unsupervised from 1 to 5 p.m. on Saturday. And you want that step as well. How many do you think that should be in step 2?
About the same, about 30.
And that puts us a ways down the road since Peyton's still very young. In the 3rd and 4th steps, are you asking for less?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not trying to prevent his visitation. You just want to do what's appropriate for Peyton?
Yes.
Okay. The 3rd step is on Saturdays, the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturday of every month from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that is supervised as well. Do you think about 10 is appropriate on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next step is an overnight, Saturday night at 6 p.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. And that's the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturdays of every month as well. About 10 of those.
Yeah.
And after all of that, and including the limitations we've talked about, then do you feel comfortable that by then Peyton will be old enough and that you'll have seen enough of their interaction and his parenting that you would feel comfortable with the standard possession order?
I believe so.
All right. And then, are you familiar with what kind of income he makes?
Yeah.
And how do you know that information?
Went from him reaching out to me and telling me he would pay child support.
And then, were you familiar with the kind of income he made prior to the time that you guys broke up?
Yeah.
And so, based upon what he's told you and what you have personal knowledge of, what is his hourly income?
$22.
And does he typically work around a 40-hour week?
Yes.
What kind of work does he do?
It's electrical, like an electrical company.
Does it require some special skill or training on his part?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Do you know what his title is or anything?
No, I don't.
Okay. But you are comfortable testifying to the court that you know his income is $22 an hour.
Yes.
And so does he have other biological children?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many does he have?
Just one to my knowledge.
And is that child under the age of 18?
Yes.
And do you know if he's ordered to pay child support on that child?
Yes, he is.
And so we've taken that into account as well in our calculations for current child support. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how is Peyton covered on health insurance or provided health care?
Through Medicaid.
And so if the government's willing to just do a $35 a month reimbursement to Medicaid, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, and we've taken that into account in our calculations of what current child support would be as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And based upon those calculations, then his current child support that we're asking to begin May 1st would be $556 a month. Do you believe that that's appropriate given his income?
Yes.
And do you believe that that if we order retroactive child support for the time since Peyton was born for 16 months, that it's appropriate given his history and the income that you know he makes to use that figure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And has he provided any financial assistance to you since Peyton has been born for her benefit?
No.
So are you asking the judge to order 16 months of retroactive child support at the 556? That would amount to a judgment of $8,896.
Yes.
And are you okay with a payment for him to pay that out at $75 a month to begin May 1st as well?
Yes.
And so is there anything else that you need to ask me or the judge about, or any other information you need to tell us before the judge makes her decision in your case?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so.
Okay. Nothing further from this witness, Your Honor. We have no further witnesses. The state would rest and close.
All right. Based on the testimony then and the evidence before me, I do find that Cody Holland is the legal and biological father of Peyton and ordered the parent-child relationship established for all purposes. I'm appointing Ms. Tuttle as sole managing conservator and Mr. Holland as a possessory conservator. I find that appointment of joint managing conservators is not in this child's best interest. Ms. Tuttle is to determine the residence of Peyton. I'm granting the request for non-disclosure Ms. Tuttle, if you would, give the AG's office a phone number of somebody who could serve as a middle person. If there were an emergency involving Peyton, that person could get in touch with Mr. Holland, and Mr. Holland could get in touch with that person, okay?
Okay.
Other than that, you don't have to release any of your information. As to visitation, I'm ordering no drugs and alcohol for 12 hours prior to, and of course, during the visitation. I'm ordering before visitation starts, he needs to file a clean follicle test with the cause number with the Gray County District Clerk's Office. I'm ordering him to provide 48 hours notice of his intent to visit app close. And I'm granting visitation for 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturdays from 1 to 5 to be supervised, Ms. Tuttle, by someone else that you choose. I don't want you there. I want you to choose someone else that Peyton is comfortable being around.
Okay.
And I'm not granting any other type of visitation. So 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturdays, supervised with a clean follicle test.
Okay.
And Your Honor, would that be the 1 to 5?
Pardon?
The 1 to 5. 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
1 to 5, yes.
In the exchanges at the SO.
I'm not addressing exchanges.
Okay.
Ms. Tuttle needs to pick a place. Do you have any relatives, Ms. Tuttle, in the Pampa area?
Yeah.
Or close friends?
Yes, my mother lives here.
I would just pick somebody that is willing to supervise the visitation and let them do it. Have Peyton at the house before the visitation starts, and you're gone.
Okay.
After he's done visiting, then you go back and pick up Peyton.
Okay.
All right. I'm ordering Mr. Holland to pay Ms. Tuttle child support of $556 per month, starting May 1st of 2022. And I'm granting a judgment of $8,896 per month to be paid at $75 per month for retroactive child support. Ms. Tuttle, keep Peyton on the Medicaid as long as she's eligible. It's a good plan. And I'm ordering Mr. Holt. Now, what were you requesting, Mr. Poyster, for him to reimburse?
Your Honor, it was only $35 a month.
Let's bump that up to $70.
Okay.
$70 per month on the Medicaid. And if there are any bills not covered by the Medicaid, each parent pays half. I'm assessing court costs against Mr. Holland due May 1st of 2023. Is there anything I need to address?
No, Your Honor, I believe the court's covered everything.
All right. And Ms. Tuttle, do you want to visit with Mr. Poyster briefly to give her a contact phone number of somebody that you and Mr. Holland could use as an intermediary?
Yes.
Actually, you're going to use the app closed, but yes, let's go ahead and get another phone number. Let me move you into a private room to do that. But first, let me tell you, anybody can request a new hearing within the next 3 business days. If you do that, you get a new hearing and judge in front of Judge Vanderpool, and he would start over and make his own decision. But if nobody requests a new hearing, this order that I've talked about starts to become final, and you should get a copy in the mail or by email within about 2 weeks. If you don't, call the Amarillo AG's office and remind them to send you one, okay? She's already in room 3, Ms. DePoyster.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I'll join her. And I think
Okay.
we have the 2 other cases, Judge, that were on the docket. And since no one.
Come back and we'll talk about those.
Okay, great.